My name is Shelton Zuckerman. I'm one of the founders of the Sixth I Historic Synagogue, and I welcome you all here tonight for what should be a very, very interesting evening. The building we're sitting in is 103 years old and has always been a space of spirituality. It gives Dr. Chopra a little bit of an edge in tonight's discussion, but I'm confident that it'll be very even-handed at the end of the day. The building has gone through a number of iterations. It was originally the second home of the Addis Israel congregation for about 50 years. It was the home of the Turner Memorial AME Church for about 40 years. And it's been the Sixth I Historic Synagogue now going on 7 years. And tonight's event is very typical of the type of events we try to do. Great people, very interesting topics and things that people are interested in. Jackie Leventhal, who runs our cultural programming, always wants me to announce when I do this upcoming events, and generally I don't. But I have to tell you this. I looked at the 5 next authors who are coming, plus tonight, 6 great things. But we have Bill Bryson coming, Jeffrey Eugenides, Justice Stephen Breyer, Justice John Paul Stevens, and Diane Keaton. So she does get some great stuff. I have to thank Jackie for that. Tonight, we're honored to have Dr. Deepak Chopra, who is the author of more than 60 books, including numerous New York Times bestsellers. And among his many distinctions, he's a fellow of the American College of Physicians. And also, Time magazine named him one of the 100 heroes and icons of our century. That's pretty impressive. Dr. Leonard Mlodinow is also not going to be a pushover. He will soon be teaching at Caltech. He's a renowned physicist, author of several books, including The Drunkard's Walk, How Randomness Rules Our Lives. A very interesting subject, which was on the New York Times bestseller list. He's also a writing collaborator with Stephen Hawking. The moderator tonight is Timothy Shriver. We're very lucky to have him tonight. He's the chairman and CEO of the Special Olympics. He is a social leader, educator, activist, film producer, entrepreneur, and I found out tonight he only lives 1 street over from me, so we're very, very connected. We're going to have questions tonight from the audience. They'll be on index cards, and around 7:15, we'll have someone pick them up. After tonight's talk, we are going to have a dessert reception downstairs that was sponsored by David Bruce Smith Family Foundation. We certainly thank him for that. And it should be an interesting moment because we can hear some interesting things tonight from our guests, and we can carry on those conversations downstairs. So please join me now in welcoming the 3 gentlemen, Dr. Chopra, Mlodinow, and Tim Shriver. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to add my welcome to everyone's here and say right at the outset that I feel I have been in many, many distinguished environments in my life, but I have never been as out of my league as I am tonight. Have any of you read the book? Be honest. Okay, good. So that means that the fact that it took me 3 times reading it to understand it doesn't make me feel bad because none of you have anything over me. At least I have tried. It's actually
makes me feel bad.
It's actually an extraordinary book, and I hope you will all get copies either tonight or in the near future. It is titled, as you all know, War of the Worldviews, and my only gripe with the book is the word war. I would like, and I don't think, frankly, I don't think tonight we're going to have a war, at least I hope not. I think we're going to have an extraordinarily rich discussion with 2 people who have arguably as good an insight into the scientific and the spiritual world as any 2 people in the world. So you're in for an enormous treat, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And what are my credentials tonight? I think I prayed a lot as a kid. I prayed that I would be the shortstop for the Boston Red Sox. It didn't come through. Then I prayed that I'd win Wimbledon. That didn't happen either. So I have a lot of experience with frustration in religion. And I read the book going 600 miles an hour at 6 miles above the earth, and you can't help but remember and drinking a cup of coffee, as most of you have done in an airplane, some on top of the ocean. You can't help but be reminded everywhere we go today of the extraordinary, just unbelievable achievements of science. So we stand in a world that seems hungry for the spirit, fascinated by science, and conflicted about to the experts. And I'm going to start just by asking a very broad question, which is to ask Deepak and then Leonard to say first, what's really good about science, Deepak, and Leonard, what's really good? What's really good about spirituality?
Why didn't you laugh when he said that to Deepak about science?
So what's really good about science is precisely what Tim was mentioning. You know, life would be impossible today. We have eliminated a number of epidemics of disease. We have social networks that instantly are connecting us. In fact, I believe, because of science and technology, that it enriches the possibilities and the magnificence and the awesomeness of God. Okay? That's really good about science. Why? Imagine creating a universe in an instant instead of taking 7 days to do it. Imagine creating a Big Bang that simultaneously appears everywhere. You know, the Big Bang wasn't in a particular location of space and time, because before the Big Bang there was neither space nor time. So it appears everywhere, and we know that because cosmic radiation, background radiation, comes to us from all sides. That's omnipresence. Imagine taking a dot smaller than the period at the end of a sentence and now stretching it across billions of light years of space and time. That's omnipotence. Imagine precise laws, so precise that if they were off by even a fraction of a fraction, we wouldn't have a universe. That's omniscience. I think we have done God great injustice by squeezing God into the volume of a body, the span of a lifetime, giving him a male identity, and putting him, somewhere in an ethnic background, and saying, this God is the creator of the universe. God is much more awesome, and thanks to science.
So when you ask about what is good about spirituality, I guess there's two levels to answer that question. One level is spirituality in general, and I think it's very important in people's lives to be spiritual. And if you're a scientist, it's very important. I hope that people realize that being a scientist doesn't mean you're not a spiritual person. The other level of the question is Deepak's spirituality. And I admire Deepak's spirituality as it relates to the human condition, freeing yourself from the baggage of your past, treating other people with respect, and he's got me meditating, and I like to meditate. I think it's very good for you. I recommend it. And I also agree with Deepak, or in the converse, I guess, that I think that